Assalamualaikum. My name Muhammad Zul'Ain bin Saleh and my metric number is 2019890894. Today I want to present about root pruning and transplanting the young seedling in nursery. Okay. Content in my present is what is nursery, activity in nursery, root pruning and transplanting the young seedling. Okay, what is nursery? A nursery is a place where plants are propagated and grow to a desired age. Nursery may supply plants for garden, agriculture, forestry, and conservation biology. This area is usually covered with plastic net or shading tree to avoid direct sunlight. Some of them specialize in one phase of the process, which is propagation, growing out, retail sale, or in one type of plant. Some nursery produce bulk stock, whether seedling or grafted, of particular variety for purposes such as the fruit tree for orchard or timber tree for forestry, and the plant are commonly cultivated from seed or from cuttings. Okay, type of nursery in oil palm. First, single stage nursery. This system utilizes only large polybag and the germinated seeds are planted directly into the bed in the same manner as planting out in the pre-nursery polybag as described in section on planting germinated seeds into the large polybag. Okay, the advantage for this stage is once the seed has been planted, there is no further movement until field planting, so that the root system is not disturbed and therefore establishment and growth is faster. One can dispense with all the requirements in terms of layout, equipment and level of the pre-nursery. And the disadvantage is it is necessary to have the full nursery infrastructure ready from the initial seed delivery. It requires greater volume of water and additional individual well and care for the first 2 or 3 months. It also requires more soil since all the culling is done at the large polybag stage. Next is the type of nursery. Next is double stage nursery. The double stage nursery system involves planting of the germinated seed in small pre-nursery polybag packed closely together in very small area. For the first 2 or 3 months, the seedlings are then planted out in the large polybag nursery where they remain for a further 7 until 9 months before field planting. And the advantage is only a small section of nursery is required for the first 2 until 3 months. Culling can be carried out very quickly and easily at the first stage before planting into the large bag. Okay, the disadvantage is possible slower growth compared to the single stage, especially with poor shade management. Poor transplanting technique from the small to large polybag could give rise to several transplanting shops. And last, an extra operation is great, which is very labor intensive. Okay, like we can see, this is the figure to show pre-nursery and main-nursery. Okay, activity in nursery. First, watering, the most important factor in achieve good success in the nursery. Second is manuring. It is well established that the fertilizer rate for nursery require adjustment to very managed practice and according to different soil type. And third is culling. Culling is one of the most important procedure to be carried out in the nursery to ensure that only the most uniform and vigorous plants that are likely to give the higher yield are planted in the field. Okay, pest and disease control. There are a number of measures which is implemented can assist in reducing the incidence and severity of pest and disease attack in the nursery. And last is weeding. Like we know, weed is the nursery should be eradicated since some weed may harbor pest or a host for disease. Okay, The next topic is about root pruning. What is root pruning? Pruning is a horticultural and forestry activity that involves the selective removal of certain parts of the plant, such as a leaf, bud, or root. The procedure includes selective removal from the crop and landscape plant of disease, injured, dead, non-productive, structurally unsound, or otherwise unwanted tissue. In general, the smaller the branch that is cut, the easier it is to compartmentalize the wound for a woody plant and thereby limit the potential for infiltration and decay of pathogen. Uh, Root pruning is the method of slicing the root from the produced tree that will be dug up and transplanted on the tree line. This is done to facilitate the growth along the root ball of new root that will be transplanted along with the tree. The smaller root ball will help the tree adapt more easily to the new position on the field, which mainly feeder roots. There, there are root implanted trees that have grown in the soil that stretch well beyond the branch or tree lines. The distance that the branches rise above the soil. Okay, the pruning objective. When a tree is dug for moving and transplanting, usually the portion of the root taken, the root ball is just the diameter of the tree line, often even less. Since the tree or shrub will rely on this root ball for the most of its nutrient and water during the shock of being transplanted, it will need plenty of feeder root to continue the support itself. Root pruning or cutting of the long and short root is performed to promote the growth of feeder root closer to the tree line. Okay, activity of root pruning. Step 1. Examine the ball of the root. Take your plant out of its container first and inspect the roots. Do not simply put the plant out of its pot when doing this, particularly with a delicate plant. Tip the pot over if the plant is not too heavy and tap the bottom. If the pot is flexible, attempt to compress the side of this pot slightly to lose it. Place your hand and the plant base or slide through the foliage with the finger and slide out the root ball. Okay, like we can see the figure how to do the root ball. Okay, step 2. Trim the root. Start off with a pair scissors, pruning shear or a sharp knife to prune the root. Cut around and under the root ball of the plant, cutting all the root and soil. You can be very offensive cutting of both large and small root. Okay, and step 3 is loose the root ball. Take a stick, forget cultivator or a fork when you are finished, and loose the soil and root around the root ball surface, teasing out tangler or spreading the root. Rather than continuing the growth in circle and struggle, the plant is encouraged the root to expand into the soil around the ball. Okay, the last step is step 4. Put back into the polybag. Finally, put your plant back in the polybag and add the newly trimmed root ball to the soil. Make sure all the cracks and crannies between the root ball and the side of the container get into the soil. To move around the side of the polybag, you can use a stick or towel to make sure you have all the white filled. Do not forget to watering it after you put it into the polybag. Okay, the advantage of root pruning. Like we like when you are repotting a new plant, the facilitate potting or stimulate more root growth. Another reason for root pruning is to slow down the growth because the plant energy goes into the regrowing the cut root and it and not into new top should grow. This is the beneficial for reducing the size of root ball when the plant is dug up. And next is proper root pruning can also stimulate the growth of more fibrous root or hairy roots that will increase the nutrient absorption for the soil. And lastly is root pruning is also an important type of making bonsai, which is that called root training. Okay, disadvantage of root pruning. They are likely to die if the roots are cutting off by mistake. The risk of the tree to grow properly will be disrupted if the steps are done incorrectly. And lastly, difficult to transplant seedlings during the fibrous growth. Okay, the next topic is transplanting the young seedling. What is transplanting? Transplanting or replanting is the technique of moving a plant from one location to another location. Most often this takes the form of starting a plant from seed in optimal condition, such as in protected nursery bag, then replanting it in another, usually outdoor growing location. Commercial growers employ what are called containerized and non-containerized transplant production. For containerized transplant or plug allows straightly grow plant to be transplanted with the root and soil instant. Seed planting. Seed planting is the polybag should be watered the saturation the day before planting a seed of seeds. Planting should be carried out not later than 4 days after they are received. To minimize damage, the seed must be exposed to sunlight and handled with care. The seeds should be placed with their upper surface about 20 mm below soil surface, and the seed must never be planted upside down, nor should they be planted too deep. Okay, transplanting in oil palm nursery. From small polybag pre-nursery to the large polybag which is main nursery between 3 to 4 months after seed planting or at 5 leaf stage. The soil from the center of the large polybag should be scooped out to leave a planting hole with depth equal to the of the small polybag. The planting hole should have a base of at least 10 cm diameter, widening toward to the top, and the polyethylene around the base of the small polybag should be cut and removed. Next, the detached seedling together with the soil is placed in a planting hole of the large polybag, and the soil gently but firmly compacted around the root mass. Care must be taken to ensure that the planting is level with the pre-nursery soil level. A good watering should follow immediately. Mulching of the soil surface should be done with oil palm kernel shell. Okay, compare between transplanting and direct seedling. Transplanting method. Work cost is high. Seeds are not uncovered. Plant populace is guaranteed with firm root jetty. Seed requires is less or hectare per hectare. Plants are a tendency to develop gradually as a result of recuperation time in the wake of transplanting. And lastly, nursery arrange and pooling of seedling required. For the direct seedling method, work cost is low. Seeds are presented to fall rat and snail. Plant population is not guaranteed with the less root jetty. Seed prerequisite is more per hectare. Yield develops 7 until 10 days sooner than the transplanted paddy, and not requirement. Okay, additional information. Field transplanting. Culling rate in a well-managed of nursery should be less than 25%. The remaining seedlings are ensured to be not more defect or any abnormalities. And this good seedling should be at least 11 until 13 months in the nursery before it is transplanted to the field. 1 month before transplanting, lift and rotate back 90 degrees to break the root that have gone through the bag into the ground. And seedling in polybag should be well watered before field planting to reduce planting shock. Proper care and handling is needed when carrying this seedling on the way to the field to be planted. Okay, that's all my present. Thank you.